This is Keith Hamon. I'm concerned that too many of you don't really understand the weekly assessments yet, so let's fix this issue. Here's the point. You must complete a weekly assessment at the beginning of each week. Now, to access the weekly assessments, open your Google Chrome web browser and click your bookmark to the class wiki. Once there, hover over the Workshops tab for the drop-down menu. Select the workshop you're working on. The assessment for that workshop will be on that page. Starting with Workshop 2 in Week 2, you must submit a weekly assessment by Sunday at the beginning of the week. Now notice, I've just repeated this twice already. Your assessment is due on Sunday at the beginning of the week. There, that's 3 times. I hope you got it. Notice that the assessment is under the Sunday heading, but the actual assessment form is down at the bottom of the workshop page. So scroll down to the bottom of the page to find the assessment for the upcoming week. You begin by adding your name to the form. Last name first, please, to make it easy for me to alphabetize your responses. Then select your class. I assume that by week 2 you know your class identifier. If you don't, Gmail me immediately. Also, don't try to open the form. You don't have rights to open it because I don't want you to change it. Rather, you must complete the form right there on the workshop screen. Finally, you can complete the form on your smartphone, but a number of my students in the past have found that somewhat problematic, so you will definitely have better luck if you use a computer or tablet. You definitely want to use Google Chrome web browser, whichever way you go. There. I've mentioned the Chrome web browser twice. Each assessment lists about 5 to 8 questions, most multiple choice, but also some short answer and long answer questions. You must attempt to answer them all, or Google will not let you submit the form. All of the questions are based on the week's readings and videos, and most of the questions do have a single best answer, but not all of them. Sometimes I ask a question with several correct answers. I also ask questions that are obvious if you read the material. If you continuously miss these questions, then I reserve the right to take away all your points until you prove to me that you've read the material. Usually you do that by writing an additional essay based on the material covered for that week. It'll be a lot of extra work. It's really easier to just read stuff up front, and let's skip all of these problems. When you've answered all the questions on the form, you must click the Submit button. Google will give you a message saying that you can only submit once, so click the Submit button again. That's twice you click the Submit button. Pay attention, guys. If the form is successfully submitted, then you'll see this message. Great, you've completed the assessment. If you don't see this message, then something went wrong. Reload the form and submit it again. If it fails a second time, then send me a Gmail to let me know of your technical issues. I'll fix it. Now, why do I use assessments? I do it to learn what you understood about your readings, and more importantly, what you didn't understand. Now, when I meet with the class, I know what to discuss and what to ignore. For instance, I won't discuss this particular question in class because, well, everyone got it right. I will, however, discuss this question as the class answered in 4 different ways. Something is obviously unclear, and I need to address that issue. I also use assessments to decide who's reading the material and who isn't. While you don't have to answer all the questions correctly to earn your 100, you do want to convince me that you have read the assigned material. Because if I'm not convinced that you read the material, then I will assign a 0 for your grade. You can make up the grade, as I mentioned before, but only through writing an essay based on the assigned reading. Really, you'll find it much easier just to do the reading up front. This answer that you're looking at now, for instance, convinces me that the student read the material. Notice they mention the names of the stories and they give specific details from the stories. Okay, I'm convinced. These responses do not convince me, especially the 3 dots. I'm pretty sure that that student didn't read the material. Okay, if you have questions, contact me. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the net.